Okay, so this hopefully will be the last one we do on the VicPol interaction, where they do their best, or this guy does his best to avoid the answering the question yes or no. So before I go into it, I know I'm going back over the same stuff, but I just wanted to give a bit more depth to that. Now, some of the videos I've done in the past has these guys trying to trap just an everyday common man into saying yes or no. And they lose their minds. One of them is losing their minds, going, it's a yes or no answer, right? And so that indicates that the words yes or no, the way these guys are trained in their corporate language, is that is a way to get into contract. So I'm just going to guess that he was avoiding yes or no because he's coming from that kind of programming, that you don't answer questions yes or no. And so I reckon there's something there about that that's worth looking into. So I'm just planting that flag. I can't be sure, but I've got a sneaking suspicion that was a big part of his resistance, because he wasn't thinking in terms of actually being a constable, which does answer yes or no questions, right? He was thinking in terms of being that policy corporate enforcement agent who actually is liable under the rules of commerce. And yes or no means you are, agreeing to contract. So this is what I reckon was stopping him from wanting to say that, just to add another possible dimension to it. So we're going to listen.
Is that you? Are you standing on your oath of office of constable?
I am, yes.
You are?
All right, so this is the perfect opportunity now to really go after him. Unfortunately, got missed. This guy got a bit excited, which is totally understandable why. But this would have been the perfect opportunity to actually launch into proving that he's not, right? And this is the way it would have been done. So, and there's no chance he would have said this, I'm willing to bet whatever you like, that he never would have answered this the way he was meant to. And that would be to let him know that an actual constable is required to recite their oath of office upon demand by the public, right? The public has the right to demand that, and they are under obligation and duty to recite it, because they need to be able to be reminded of what it is that gives them that grant of authority, right? And there's no chance he would have recited that, right? It never would have happened, because that would be something they learnt really quickly as it's something they tick off, in the academy, and it never gets mentioned again. It's just a thing they have to go through. And so this would have been a brilliant opportunity to bring that up and watch him squirm out of it. And then when he wouldn't recite it, then it would have been a great opportunity to actually say to him, well, if you're not going to recite it, that means you're not a constable, and that would mean that you are actually now impersonating a constable. And that's a criminal offence. Are you aware of that? Or do you deny it, that to impersonate a constable is a criminal offence? Start doing that kind of stuff, launching it, and do you deny? So you're refusing to actually recite the oath, which means that you are not acting under your duty and obligation as a constable, which means now you are impersonating one. Do you deny it? That would have been brilliant, to really bring that in and let him know that if you're now saying you're a constable but you're not proving it the way you're supposed to, well, that means that you are now duplicitous, because you are acting under two masters. And that in itself is another criminal offence. This is not looking good for you, my friend. To really start nailing that to him. That would have been a brilliant opportunity to start going hard. Unfortunately, obviously, as you can see, he ran away too quickly for that to actually happen. As you can see, he's going to start shuffling his paper. But there we go. We can see that flag again, that black flag, just to reiterate that. So let's listen on.
Perfect. Let's see. We're about to find out.
Now look at him. Did you see him shuffling that paper around? He's very nervous. He's not keeping still. His hands are all over the place, right? And he's going to start turning his body over towards the vehicle now.
Here we go.
See that? You see he's turned away? And then he said happy days. This is someone who's not happy. This is a term that some people say when they're being super defensive, and he repeats it.
Where are you going? Stay here.
I'm not here to answer any of your questions.
Did you see that? Look, he's got his hand up. That's a real defensive posture. That stop. How dare you? I'm not here to answer any questions. Yet, a constable, that's what a constable's meant to do. So now he's incriminating himself even further, right? That he's afraid of questions. So like I said, the employee refusing to answer questions from the employer. When's that ever been heard of? All right? And so what does he do? He gets in a panic, right? All his defences have crumbled now. He's got nothing. He's like fully panicked that I'm going to ask questions. And they're taught in their system, the one who answers the questions is the slave. The one who asks the questions is king. Ask king, that's what they're taught. As king is asking. And so this guy's fully panicking. He's thinking, oh my goodness, this is the contract, right? I'm done. So he's not thinking as a constable, he's thinking as a corporate policy enforcement agent, which is all about contract. So this is that superstition that they've swallowed as a reality, that he's now showing in real time.
You're not going to answer it. You're actually going to be on camera.
What's that?
Walking away. Walking away.
Now have a look at the vehicle they came in, right? This is not a standard issue vehicle. They've come into one of those vans, you know, where they lock you up in, right? So much intimidation and fear. He's got all the props, but look, he's turned away. And did he even serve those fake court documents? No, he's got them in his hands. But now that he's gone to the safety of distance, watch what he does now. Now remember, he denied that he was making an accusation when he said, you know, sovereign citizen. He said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm here to serve some court papers. And now look what he does.
Proving you're not an office, a holder of constable, that you're actually a private corporate.
Look, pointing the finger, that's full accusation. That's an accusatory pose right there. So he points the finger and then he says,
Citizen, sir.
Policy
sovereign citizen,
enforcement.
sir. How's that? And now he's waving his arms, you know, like he's being like the dog that's run from that fierce position when he was confronted by something that was too overwhelming for him. So they run back and retreat into a safe place where there's distance, and then they start barking again, you know, so they're all huffed and puffed up from that distance, but when it confronted face to face, they're nowhere, right? So he's done that cowering dog thing. Now I'm, you know, back to the safety of my vehicle, and have a look at the vehicle, right? What is it? It's got the checkered floor of the Freemason House of Freemasonry, right? That's that, you know, someone with a checkered past, you know, who jumps from left brain dominance to right brain dominance, you know, that credulity, that unwavering, you know, blind belief to like unwavering authoritarianism. And then he's got the red and blue lights that show that same duality as well. The same thing on his badge, like his masters are mocking him, and he's jumping back into that vehicle that shows how dense he really is, right? And then he's trying to pass off as a constable, you know. So it's quite amusing when you look at it. And at the end of the day, what does he do? He tries to make it like it's a win, you know, like, oh, I'm going to find another way to serve these documents on you. They're still going to, you know, no matter what. Now, a constable is about equity. They're not about winning or losing. The only thing that's about winning or losing is a satanic system where there's an opposition. You know, because what does Satanism mean? It means to be in opposition to the natural order of existence. You know, and he's acting that out. So his uniform is perfectly placed for his behaviour.
Agent,
Get they served by the courts.
I must caution you where I stand under Article 6. Where are you going?
And so that was it for that one. I'm hoping I've covered enough detail there. And it's probably worth you guys going over this and making notes to really understand how this worked and why he capitulated and how you can stand in your own power and the questions that are required. And we never leave from that square of getting them to prove their authority. No, you don't need to do anything else. Just stay in the authority. As long as you stay there, you'll see how quickly they crumble. With all their gear, the weaponry, the whole thing, you know, they still can't do it because truth is sovereign in law. You know, nothing supersedes the truth. As long as you stay there and you understand how to use it and what it means, you will prevail. All right, that's it.